Audience? What are you doing looking at my YouTube videos? I mean, they are pretty nice YouTube videos, but you're here to watch me talk about Tobuscus. Intro of darkness, then redness, then whiteness. Okay, so Tobuscus used to be a titan over on YouTube with over 14 million subscribers across all 3 of his accounts. He was making videos of all kinds, from sketches, gaming, music, vlogs, and even apology videos. We'll touch on this one a bit later. He was even on TV in The Annoying Orange Show.
I did it!
You fixed the engine?
No! I made this sweet lanyard out of the mainframe wiring.
How does that help anything?
Dang it, Orange, I'm a fruit seller, not a doctor.
Such a legendary accomplishment. He was insanely popular thanks to his variety of content and entertaining personality. Well, at least entertaining to kids. A lot of his gaming videos boiled down to random and loud equals funny, and overall his personality was very hyper and ADHD. And by personality, I'm of course talking about his persona he always uses on camera. He was so popular, I even had a friend who changed his username to put Buscus at the end of it, and bought his very own Tobuscus merch. With that being said, I don't think a lot of his content holds up today, with some few exceptions of course. I could really do a deep dive in retrospective on his content if I wanted to, and maybe one day I will. But for now, I want to look at his video game Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. I'm going to be talking about the origins of the game, followed by the reception, and then I'll explain the very strange events that followed. After that, I'll show you the game in detail and then give you my full opinion on it. The more I dug into this game, the more weird stuff I found. For example, there are people that got completely scammed out of their perks from the Indiegogo campaign. And the Steam version of the game made so many baffling changes that I cannot wrap my head around, including changing the name of the game entirely. If you do end up enjoying this video, consider subscribing because I plan to cover every single video game made by a YouTuber ever made. Now I hope you enjoyed the very odd story of Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. Tobuscus had an animated series on his channel called Tobuscus Animated Adventures. The videos are written by Tobuscus while animated by other talent. They all revolve around Tobuscus and his friend Gay Buscus on their adventures. In the first one, they go find themselves on a beach full of zombies. The second one is about Toby getting a portal gun for Christmas. The third one is about them going to Canada so Toby can take advantage of Canadian prices on cell phone plans. The fourth one has Toby Turner turning his shirt inside out so nobody would recognize him. Very exciting stuff, I know. Describing what happens in these videos with one sentence is definitely doing them a disservice, as these are short, fast-paced animated comedy sketches, so the plot really is not the selling point. Overall, these aged fine. I even exhaled through my nose on a few parts, and sometimes that's really all you can ask for. Regardless of what I think, the series was very popular, with many of them getting over 10 million views each. The reason I'm bringing this series up in the first place is because they were the inspiration for the game Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. The 5th video in the series is just an advertisement for the Indiegogo fundraiser for the game. The fundraiser started on March 21st, 2013, and the goal was to raise $240,000. That goal was reached only 8 days after the fundraiser was created. The perks overall seemed pretty decent, and Tobuscus was insanely popular at the time, so it does not surprise me at all that the money was raised so quickly. However, I will say some of the perks were odd, like an invite to the game's launch party. I am very curious to know what it was like. If you are one of the 7 people who spent $800 on this perk, let me know immediately. Also, let me know if you spent $8,000 to get a tour of Tobuscus Inc. For $40,000, Tobuscus will sing a song about a trailer of something that you made, whether that be a video game or a movie, probably etc. Unsurprisingly, nobody claimed it. For $400,000, you could go to space. I have no idea what this means, and of course nobody claimed it. As they gained more money, they added more stretch goals, like adding Toby's dog Griffin to the game. The fundraiser ended up earning over $600,000 by the time it ended in July 6, 2013. The game was originally promised to be released around Halloween of the same year, but was pushed back until March 20th, 2015, and it sold for $4.99. Toby claims the delay was because he wanted the game to be as best as it could be, and he kept making improvements.
I met with a few game studios and picked one that can definitely pull this off. We could make this game playable by Halloween.
And it's about killing zombies, so that's perfect. Hey audience, new year means new excuses for why my game's not done yet. Just kidding, same ones. It's almost done. Hopefully it's gonna come out now, end of February, we'll see. We're gonna submit it end of January, and then Apple has to approve it, and if they don't, I'll just play it myself forever. It's been a little longer than the 2 months we promised it would take to make the game. It's been a year and 4 months. Holy shit, it's been a long freaking time. but that's just because every version I'm like, oh no, see that? I don't like that. You made the skeletons invulnerable? No, skeletons are just skeletons. Or you kill them if you want. You know what? I want to change the order of the items so the first ones you get are the first ones you see. You know, I could have put the game out like 6 months ago and been like, I'm done, and then not be stressed. But then now I'm like, yeah, you can do all this stuff now. And then you're gonna be like, oh, I don't even notice. And I'm like, ah!
So when the game finally released, what was the reception like? Well, I'm not too sure. When looking up the game online, I found very little information on it. Even the wiki is completely blank. People seemed happy in the YouTube comments, but that's all I could tell for the most part. There's also not a whole lot of Let's Plays on the game, and the Steam version only has 11 reviews. My assumptions are that the 2-year wait for the game completely killed the hype. This was also around the time when Toby's channel started to take a slight decline in viewerships month to month, which obviously did not help. So when the game finally released, just not as many people cared anymore. Maybe it did get a lot of downloads, but I'm just simply guessing that it didn't get as many as Toby was hoping. The best info I got surrounding this was that it had 3,000 ratings on the App Store. I'm sorry I don't have more information here, but that's all I could find. We now flash forward 1 year later in 2016, where we find Toby in deep controversy. I told you that we'd be coming back to this apology video. In April of 2016, one of his exes posted a long article on Tumblr titled "The Truth About Tobuscus." I won't go into detail here, as this is a long post but only a small part of this story. You can pause and read it if you want, but I'll give you the basics. She talked about all the kinds of abuse Toby put her through, mental and physical, all while he was under the influence of drugs. This post goes into detail about everything, emphasizing how terrible of a person Toby is, and she even describes how she was afraid to leave him and felt trapped in an abusive relationship. After that, multiple other people spoke up against Toby with their similar stories. Toby replied with his apology video, where he doesn't really apologize and just says everything that's been said is false, and that's kind of it. From what I can tell, a lot of people ended up siding with the victim. Sure, these were just allegations, but given Toby's chaotic persona and lack of a proper rebuttal, people were quick to believe their stories. Ever since then, Toby's YouTube career was not the same. Toby stopped uploading as frequently and lost many subscribers. However, this wasn't the only reason his YouTube career more or less died. Jay Aubrey made a good point on how his YouTube channel was already dying as he failed to innovate and never really showed his true self in his videos.
He definitely managed to accomplish a lot, but unfortunately, content alone isn't enough for people to stick around. They stick around for your personality, and no matter how hard he tried, Toby just never poured enough of his own character into the persona we saw in his videos. He resembled a caricature of a man rather than an actual man people could sympathize and connect with, and it's incredibly sad to witness, because maybe if he had injected more of his own self into his crazy image we were all used to, people would have been more willing to follow him on his other creative endeavors, but instead he never gave his audience anything to really grasp, and once the allegations cropped up, it was all over. But he still had a good run. No matter where the future will take Tobuscus, we will always find comfort in the backlog of nostalgia woven into an increasingly staggering yet highly memorable legacy.
So with all of that being said, it is no surprise that Toby's game fell into even further irrelevancy. The game did have its re-release on Steam in 2018 under the original name Tobuscus Adventures Wizards, and it sold for $7.99. Unfortunately, I do not know the exact date of when this was released. Toby posted this tweet on March 2nd of 2018, while the first Steam review was posted on May 9th of 2018. The game has since been rebranded to Wizard's Wand of Epicosity, and the cover features a generic-looking wizard instead of Tobuscus. I assume this is to take any mention of Tobuscus off of the game so people don't compare it to the controversy, despite Tobuscus being in the description of the game and the publisher being Tobuscus Game Studios, and not to mention the fact that the game still fully revolves around Toby. The name change also may be because the game is available on Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, and perhaps they figured that the game's chances of getting approved on those consoles would be higher if Toby's name wasn't in the title. By the way, I assume it's sometime between 2018 and 2020 that the game was removed from mobile devices, but I am not sure. There are a whopping 11 reviews on this game on Steam, with only one of them being negative. positive. The one negative review is only negative because they were robbed of 2 Steam copies of the game along with the rest of the supporters from the fundraiser. There's another post in the discussions of this game where someone else who backed the game on Indiegogo never got the beta version they were promised. Those are the only posts I saw about people not getting the rewards from the Indiegogo, but I'm willing to bet there are more, so parts of the campaign may or may not have been a scam. I'm not positive. Okay, so I just explained the entire backstory behind the game, so how about we see some gameplay?
There once was a great good wizard sitting in a tower minding his business when a guy showed up named Tobuscus and he accidentally killed the wizard. Now he's caught up in a wizard war, a wicked war of wizards. Yeah. Alright, that's it.
I won't speak on the mobile version because I never got to play it. However, from watching Toby's Let's Plays of the mobile version, I don't think there's many differences. All I really noticed were touchscreen gimmicks, visual redesigns, and how the menus are laid out. However, I did find out that the story was changed on the Steam version. I'll point that out as it becomes relevant. So you boot up the game, or succumb to darkness as the game says. After that, you're greeted with this epic scene of Toby doing some epic wizard stuff as he looks to be in pain. And by the way, at all times in the corner of the screen, you will see text that reads development build. So it seems like whatever they put on Steam is not the final version of the game. I'm sure we'll hardly notice any problems anyway. I mean, Toby did stall this game for over a year to ensure its quality, so what could go wrong? The menu is so weird when you first open the game, as your options are change location, continue, and menu. Change location is just the map, and of course you don't have any locations unlocked yet, so you have to continue, which is odd considering you haven't even started yet. Alright, so we hit continue for some reason and we're given the first cutscene. Toby and Gabe are running away from zombies when they suddenly stumble upon a big wooden tower in the middle of a field. A wizard answers and lets them in. It then cuts to them leaving an elevator on the roof. Or at least that's what happens in the Steam version. Toby uploaded all of the cutscenes to his YouTube channel back in 2015, so we can see exactly what was in the mobile version and what was cut. For example, an entire scene was cut out of the first cutscene. Originally, when they enter the tower, they talk about some paintings on the wall of 4 Indiegogo backers who paid to be in the game. The characters then banter and make jokes as they make their way to the roof. This change is very odd considering that the people in the paintings paid to be in the game, yet were completely cut. And they cut out an entire scene when they only really needed to cut the first 15 seconds of it. But whatever, I assume this change was made to help remove itself from Tobuscus as much as possible, or to remove these innocent people from associating with Tobuscus at all. Or perhaps they couldn't follow through with all of the promised rewards from the Indiegogo, so they rebranded the game and removed all mentions of it in hopes people would forget. So anyway, they're on the roof now. The wizard shows the two his spellbook that he can use to kill zombies when suddenly the Wizard of Darkness attacks. Toby insists on helping but instead gets the wizard killed. Toby sees this as a sign from destiny to use the spellbook to kill the zombies and kill the Wizard of Darkness. That's where the gameplay starts on the Steam version, but in the original there's 50 seconds more. The wizard explains he'll revive things to his ring.
I'll come back to life as soon as the cooldown wears off.
Oh, wow, that's so good. How long does it take for the cooldown to wear off?
About 2 months.
2 months real time or game development time?
How is that relevant?
I mean, oh man, I guess I'm gonna have to take over as wizard for a while then, huh?
I assume this is why this part was cut. Toby is making a joke about how long this game took to release, and as I talked about, it seems like any reference to the Indiegogo is forbidden. After that, the wizard tries to show Toby his collections of spells and runes, when suddenly the Wizard of Darkness blows them away. Then there's more jokes, and that's where it ends and the gameplay officially starts. The wizard now acts as a tutorial and explains how to play the game to us, and since the lore of how he'll revive was cut out entirely of the Steam game, I just assumed his ghost was talking to me for some reason and I didn't really question it. Plus, the cutscene that was removed also explains why you only start off with one spell, and get more as the game goes on. Again, if they want to erase all mention of the Indiegogo, they only need to remove a few seconds from these cutscenes, yet they removed the entire ending, leading to things just simply never being explained. So anyway, the wizard is giving you a tutorial, which is all fine and dandy, but listen to him when you accidentally go faster than the game wants you to.
If you find any tacky vases on the map, destroy them with your wand and do the work. You found a wizard's robe.
Whoa, I look awesome now!
Alright, so what's the gameplay like? It's a tower defense game, but not the fun kind like balloon tower defense. You're in a tower on a fixed location, and you have to cast spells on the zombies approaching you to stop them from attacking the tower. You use your mouse to select a target, press 1 through 4 to choose your spells, or control to stun them. Press R to refill your mana, and F to refill your health. When every level is over, an indestructible murder goblin approaches, so you have to press T to teleport away. When you beat each level, it shows you how many coins and gems you collected, how many stars you got, how long it took you, and how many zombies you killed. As you gather more spells, you can customize what you bring into each level, along with customizing your character, and the character models leave a lot to be desired to say the least. You can buy upgrades and potions in the shop, and that's essentially the game for ya. As the game goes on, you get more ways to attack, like Griffin landmines and maybe some other stuff that I don't know about because I got completely stuck in the game and I don't know how to advance. You see, when Tobuscus is slain, you restart the level to try again, but the tutorial never comes back. So when I was taught the Griffin bomb, I was also told that I needed to stun enemies before attacking them. I didn't catch that the first time I played, and since the tutorial didn't come back, I initially gave up. Once I played back the footage, I realized what he said, but I still struggled very hard on the level. Maybe there's a more intuitive way to beat this level, but I couldn't find any information on it since there's no guides or walkthroughs. Toby's Let's Play of the game even conveniently ends right before this level, so maybe it's actually impossible. I may be doing this completely wrong, but I have no idea, and I do not care enough to spend the time to figure it out. Maybe I would have been more motivated to figure it out if I was enjoying the game a bit more. I found out that you can typically teleport very early on in each level once you just get 1 star. So that's what I did every chance I got. Before I found that out, I thought you had to make it to the end when the murder goblin shows up before you can teleport, but that's only how you get 3 stars. And every time I tried for 3 stars, I just kept getting my butt kicked. Eventually, I was able to beat these levels with 3 stars thanks to buying some stuff in the shop, but you don't need to do that to move on in the game. Instead, you can easily do the bare minimum without even thinking and move on. However, the game is just too easy this way, and it's too difficult when you're going for 3 stars. Meanwhile, none of this game is fun to begin with, so naturally, this is where I stopped playing the game. I can't imagine I'm going to see anything that would change my opinion if I kept playing. There's only 20 levels in this game and I played 7 of them. Good enough for me. Either way, the best parts of the game were the cutscenes. Once you finish the first level and teleport away, the wizard explains how he's tracking down all of the spells and runes that the Wizard of Darkness scattered around, which is very random if you're playing on Steam, since the original explanation of how the spells were scattered around was completely taken out. The wizard then explains how to teleport, buy items from the shop, and a few other things. The footage that you've been watching from this cutscene comes from the mobile version. On Steam, they decide to hide what the mobile version of the game looks like, and instead of redoing the visuals so it could look like the Steam's version, they decide to put a 2-second loop of the tower flying in place. Here you can see me trying to adjust the window because I thought the game was glitched, but no, that's just the cutscene. And now listen to how it ends on the Steam version.
Don't forget to find it before teleporting.
Sounds pretty cut off, doesn't it? Well, that's because the original version has a part where they explain microtransactions and how they work. I get why they removed this part entirely, as microtransactions are no longer a part of the game, but I have no doubts they could have done a much better job at ending this. The third cutscene just explains how you can use Griffin to plant bombs. Both versions of the cutscenes are the exact same, except when they show the mobile screen. Here they cover it up with Griffin panting. And there's also this weird moment of black where it seems like they just made a mistake and never fixed it. Not to mention that it cuts off at the end, again.
Man, you are the weirdest person I've ever accidentally killed.
Unfortunately, this is where I stopped playing the game. I will no longer be able to give you the comparisons between the two versions. At this point, I'm sure we can all expect what level of quality to expect from the Steam version anyway. From this point on, I will only be talking about the mobile version. In the next cutscene, Toby finds all the pieces to the Frost rune, and then the wizard tells him that he can enter the lava levels with that rune. That's it. This time, even the YouTube video slightly cuts off at the end.
When you're ready to lower your lifespan.
Toby then finds another piece of a rune and tries to put it together, but he cannot. Meanwhile, we're hearing the same sound effect of two pieces of cement rubbing against each other over and over, despite that not being what Toby is doing with the runes in the video. Once I hear it, I cannot focus on anything else, which is incredibly annoying as this scene is over a minute long and Toby and the wizard are just rambling about literally nothing important and just telling bad jokes.
Here goes nothing.
Literally, because nothing is happening.
Uh-oh.
Dude, there's no way these things fit together.
Well, I for one hope they do, because if not...
Yeah, I know. Don't say anything. It's not gonna help.
Okay, just making sure you know.
Yeah, I know. Don't say anything.
That everyone...
Yeah, I know.
In the world
Yeah, I know.
would be
Yeah.
made immortal.
Yep.
Then suddenly the runes connect and the wizard tells Toby to upgrade his wand to the Wand of Epicosity and to fight the Wizard of Darkness.
Now go upgrade your wand to the Wand of Epicosity and give him a battle he won't remember 'cause he'll be dead.
Alright, so now the entire gang is outside the Wizard of Darkness's castle, so naturally they confront the Wizard of Darkness. Here, Toby and the wizard just obnoxiously and pointlessly roast each other for almost 2 minutes. Then the wizard reveals he's using Tim as a human host so he can survive. And you just need to watch this next part for yourself.
I don't have a dictionary, but I do have your birth certificate.
Okay.
Do you know what the difference between mortals and immortals is?
Eternity?
A prefix.
That's not how that works. On the contrary, combining the fire and ice runes creates a magical wizard steam. When applied to an enchanted wizard legal document, the changes of a word carry over into reality.
What? Dude, you could have totally stopped me while he was explaining that.
This is so stupid and specific. I have so many questions like how did they ever find this out in the first place? But whatever, I guess the wizard is mortal now. I know what you might be thinking, why am I so upset about this game having a bad plot? It's just a comedy and made by Tobuscus after all. While I do completely understand where you're coming from, in my opinion, the best part and the biggest draw to playing this game are the cutscenes. And if the cutscenes are bad, this game has no legs to stand on. So I think it's fair to point out how bad the plot is. I assume here is where the final boss would take place as this is now the final cutscene. Tim is lying unconscious until Toby wakes him up. Toby just makes jokes at Tim's expense per usual, until he eventually leaves Tim alone to figure out how to get out of wherever they are by himself. He then sees what I assume is supposed to be the spellbook Toby was using, despite the spellbook not previously being read. Maybe there's a color change during some gameplay, maybe that's a different spellbook, I don't know. It then cuts to a crowd cheering on Toby for killing the Wizard of Darkness.
You did it, Tobuscus! Yes, I did it. I did.
You're the best, Tobuscus!
Yes, I know.
So glad I donated!
I know.
You said it was just gonna take 2 months.
Hey, what's up, girl?
I can't wait until your next game.
Ha, what?
The one where you get thrown into the sun! Subscribe.
My arm! Dang it!
That's right, the ending of this game is an advertisement for Toby's next game, Mine the Diamond, that came out on June 18th, 2015.
Hello once again, audience. I just put out a new freaking iOS game and it's free and I'm really excited about it. Check it out. So you can go in the store, you can spend 99 cents on stuff, which you, of course you should do that. Flappy Drill, if you buy that, that's 99 cents. It sucks, but it turns the game kind of into a sideways Flappy Bird. Each one of these guys has custom voiceover. Dude, I'm so excited. And it's got this song that I'm talking over. All right, check it out. Dude. Oh, and it's free. It's called Mine the Diamond. If you guys want to download it, I would love you always. I mean, I'll physically love you anyways, as it is, but you know, I'm talking emotionally. So this game is very frustrating. You're gonna hate it probably for the whole time. Maybe if you play for hours in a coffee shop. I can't look at you, God, son. There's ads, and the ads suck. There's like this. We had to put ads in because you know it's like freaking expensive to make that. Nowhere near freaking Wizards. If you guys haven't played Wizards, please play it. It's so freaking fun. But it costs $5. This is free. I'm talking really fast. I'm not really saying anything. Oh, get up in the sky with Lucy. Toby, that's a drug reference. No, it's a Beatles reference. I've never done that. I'm gonna pause it. This game is called Mine the Diamond. If you're good enough, you can get up to the sun and your skin melts off and you're just a skeleton. Thanks for watching!
Is Wizard's Wand of Epicosity worth buying? No, of course not. Did you watch the video? The gameplay is boring and repetitive. The only appeal this game has at all is the story. However, the quality on the Steam version just gets worse and worse as the game goes on, and all of the cutscenes are up in a better version on YouTube for free, so there is no reason to buy this game at all. Speaking of games made by Tobuscus, there's a moment in one of his original Indiegogo announcement videos where he mentions that he intends to make more Tobuscus games, and here he shows a screenshot with a character that looks exactly like Scott Pilgrim. Regardless, I'm sure it's safe to say that this minigame will never see the light of day. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. If you want more similar content like this, then check out my video on PewDiePie Legend of the Brofist, or maybe even Mr. Beast's secret game. Thank you for watching. If you sneeze during this video, bless you, and I hope you all have a happy Tuesday.